my mind, just because I served in Oklahoma, I feel like it has like some of the greatest people and then some of the craziest people ever. I think that just happens with every mission because no other time do you like talk with such a concentrated amount of people, like so many people. And so you get like both spectrums. And so you get the you know, the good and the ugly of Oklahoma, and not ugly, but like you'll meet some funny people. And so I would meet these, you know, those amazing people like that I've talked about, but then you'll meet crazy people. One investigator, he was vegetarian, and he was really cool. He kind of looked like Gandhi, so that was kind of fun. But he had a beard. But I know Gandhi doesn't have a beard. But if Gandhi had a beard, he would have a beard just like this guy. And he believes that like everything in the Bible was about being a vegetarian. That like the forbidden fruit that Adam and Eve partook of was like a sheep or something. And granted, I couldn't understand everything because this was the beginning of my mission and this was in Spanish. So this was a lot crazy in Spanish. So it's really hard for me to understand everything he was saying because it was already weird and in another language. And so many things, like for example, the sacrament to him was basically talking about how you should eat bread instead of like fish, which is really sad because there's so much to the sacrament, but I just kind of missed the bar. So many things. And like when you're baptized, you get baptized because like when you're righteous and you don't eat meat, you're like this tree. You're like a little tree. When you do eat meat, you're like a whited sepulcher because inside of you there's just a lot of dead things. Which Jesus actually calls the Pharisees whited sepulchres. I can't even say that word. Sepulchres. And so he thinks it's because they eat meat. Anyways, and so you're like a tree and so you need to get baptized because you need the water to nourish your roots. That's why you get baptized. And the reason why we kept teaching him, I mean, I didn't have a complete say in this at the time. I didn't even understand what was going on, but like every time we saw him, like something got better, like, oh, there could be prophets. You're right. There could be prophets, or, oh, you're right. And one time we were teaching him and we actually took, the branch president's wife, which we weren't gonna take her to him, but because everything else canceled, we did. So we were talking about, Abraham for some reason, and about how sometimes you don't really know why a commandment is given, but you just follow through. And branch president's wife was like, yeah, like with Abraham, you know, God commanded him to go sacrifice Isaac, and it made no sense. He didn't understand, but he was going to follow God and he was going to trust him. And this guy is just like, whoa, first of all, that was really dumb of Abraham. Like, he was deceived. Like, how could God ever ask him to do that? Like, if God came down and told me to eat a cow, I wouldn't do it. And just like, at that point, we decided that this was going nowhere. And it's just really fun. And so many great, crazy people. We had this one investigator who wanted to get to heaven and to get to ride one of the dragons and fight for God on the dragon. I don't think he understood that the dragon was Satan. You want to fight Satan on a dragon, but the dragon's Satan. And he just talk about that all the time. It's like, well, that's great, but let's, something. Okie talkers is what we call them. They're really loving people, and so they just like to talk a lot. And sometimes they get really off topic. And it's really hard because you want to listen to them because you love them, but you also want to help them, and so you need to teach them. And so prepare for that as well. Learn how to, like, you love them, you want to listen to them, you want to hear what they have to say. You also want them to have spiritual experiences is the other thing.